here with you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to be here. As we said, my name is Erika Gault, and I serve as the director for the Center for the Study of African American Religious Life at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and it is a pleasure to have this conversation and to be back in Buffalo. As I said last night, I count Buffalo as very special. This is the first place that I was able to make a home for myself as an adult, and spent 10 wonderful years here, and it was a shock to my whole system when we left here. But the plans we have are the ones that God laughs at. So it is a full circle moment for me to be here with you today, and I'm excited to be joining in this conversation today. I want to begin with gratitude, saying thank you. You are only as good as the group that you run with, the people that you hang out with. And so partnerships are really important, and it has only been through partnerships that we have been able to be here today. And this is no small thing to gather in this room, since you all had like 100 events going on today. I saw folks even running down the street. This is a Buffalo Marathon? Is that's what's going on? Okay, maybe they were just running. And yet you chose to be here with us. That is wonderful and very special, and also points to the essentiality of the discussion and the kinds of conversations that we wish to embark on today. I want to say thank you as well to community partners like Michigan Street, like the African American Corridor, Heritage Corridor, like BAM as well, the Erie County Library, and also and perhaps most especially Buffalo History Museum for this space and being a partner throughout this conversation. I have to say as well, and give extended gratitude to my team, some of the folks sitting at that table there, and some of the folks that some of you met yesterday as well, community curation, for their support always of the work that we do. We have the wonderful privilege often of traveling with them, and so there are wonderful partners in this work. And then I have to give a special thank you to Dr. Teddy Reeves and Kim Moyer, who are the writer, producer, director of God Talk, but just are some of the coolest folks you will ever meet, and wonderful to travel with and to be in conversation with, and passionate about this work that we do. There are so many other ways in which this event would not have been possible without this team, and ways seen and unseen. And so there are other members of our team that are not even here, but they are responsible for the little things and the big things that have been made possible in this room. And so I'm so thankful always for the rest of our staff that make these kinds of moments possible. Now, I want to begin by saying we travel. Like that's an understatement. We stay in midair always. And I traveled the least, but the mileage that table over there has put in is astronomical. Sometimes we go to large, impressive places, and sometimes we go to small and more humble spaces. But everywhere and always, we find treasures in the artifacts that we collect, in the oral histories that we do, and in the meaningful discussions and programming we're privileged to be a part of. This year alone, our team has clocked, I counted it last night, and it kind of shook when I looked at the numbers. We have clocked about 150 flight hours, covered over 50,000 miles, and made 31 trips, if my count is accurate. And we're only at the halfway point of the year. Are we tired yet? I don't know, Teddy and Kim. Are we tired? We're tired. Yes, we are definitely tired. We have just learned to wear comfortable shoes. Well, some of us, we were talking yesterday as an elder millennial. I woke up with this extraordinary cramp and limped here this morning, but was too vain to put on comfortable shoes. So I'm definitely tired. My feet are tired. But as a woman on the march said, in that same spirit, our feet are tired, but our souls are rested. That's right. We take rest in the fact that the work that we do is of vital importance. Preserving, documenting, and interpreting the sacred lives of African Americans is in itself sacred work. I think of you, Teddy, performing rites in the deaccessioning of sacred objects collected and housed in our warehouse location. I think of something last night that Kim said about being behind the lens and documenting the moment when the Voodoo priestess beautifully described the whole of religion as getting our mind, body, and spirit in alignment. I think of, for myself, this summer going back to the church of my childhood and seeing with new eyes the 19th century world of female preaching traditions in Nashville, Tennessee, and becoming yet again excited about where we are taking the next iteration of God Talk, the documentary, and exploring and documenting the lives of African American women and their religious leadership in its vastness. These sacred journeys remind us of the vastness of Black experience, and that if we don't write it, if we don't document it, if we don't preserve it, if we don't tell it, it'll be just like a fire shut up in our bones. And we have come here today with that same burning desire. And I believe there are so many kindred spirits in the room today, for you too have treasures. You too have sacred stories to tell. I think of Deacon Edmondson in this connection to the work of Dr. Monroe Ford on Buffalo College and First Shiloh Baptist, the rich history of Calvary, and so many others in this room. Your obituaries, church fans, programs, bulletins, sermons, pews, and other ephemera and artifacts will be of paramount importance to the next generation of Black religious making. And what we choose to do with these treasures is also of vital importance, particularly in this present moment when the histories of Black folk represent contested spaces, as so many from Florida to Texas seek to invisibilize our contribution. It is a moment in which the last generation sometimes seems so blinded by the lack of church attendance to recognize that the digital pews are actually full, and the next generation is in the midst of their own great awakening. There is a religious movement happening right before our eyes. In this moment where millennials are seeking, once again, physical spaces to be in community, this is the moment where AI and AR are shifting the possibilities for how we interpret and present religion. The world of Black religion is bursting with possibilities, and houses of worship can and should be at the forefront of that. I ask then, what futures do you see for your church, for your house of worship, for your church collections? For around these artifacts and collections, the preservation of churches and the revitalization of church communities can occur. And I know many of you in this room have already begun that work, have been doing that work for a number of years, for a very long time now, have been on this sacred journey to have your precious religious treasures preserved and promoted. And so I ask you this morning, are you tired yet? Are you tired of telling the stories of how your community got over? Are you tired of collecting and holding these treasures for the next generation to build and grow from and with? If the answer is no, if your mind is made up and your soul is rested in this work, join us today as we journey into this discussion and learn how we might together as one, in the words of Brother Bell, imagine ways to preserve, document, and interpret Buffalo's sacred treasures. We began today with an exhibition work from our own center and locally to help catalyze our discussion. And so we'll hear first from Dr. Teddy Reeves, and then Dr. Gault, and finally Brother Bell will lead us into our panel discussion. Thank you. I look forward to the